Has anyone else noticed how quiet the Pokemon Company has been recently? I mean, of course, they're still releasing Pokemon cards, and they're still releasing the anime, and obviously all the merchandise is still out there. But the game series have been suspiciously quiet recently. And sure, a full year without Pokemon games may seem like not that long in the grand scheme of things, but this is the longest drought without a mainline Pokemon game since 2016. And before that, if you include spin-off games like Mystery Dungeon and the Pokemon Rumble series and things like that, there has not been a year since 2003 that a Pokemon game of some kind hasn't released in at least North America, if not across the world. And sure, I'm being a little bit generous because I'm including the DLCs for both Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield, but I would consider those mainline Pokemon releases. But in 2024, the only thing, as far as video games, quote unquote, that will be released this year is going to be Pokemon the TCG Pocket, which is a mobile phone game that is a digital version of the trading card game. But no mainline Pokemon or no spin-off games like any of the things that you would consider a Pokemon series. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. It makes me extremely happy. Don't get me wrong. I love Pokemon. But it has been too long since we let Pokemon cook for a long period of time. The Pokemon Company and GameFreak have been getting justifiably roasted after every Pokemon release because it's underbaked, seemingly unfinished. A lot of the content seems not fully fleshed out, and it just seems like they are pushing every single game to be a holiday release, to be every single year. We need a Pokemon game. We need a Pokemon game. We need a Pokemon game. And to be honest with you, the Pokemon fans are fed up with it. I'm fed up with it. And I'm someone who will buy every single Pokemon game as soon as it releases. I will play it to completion, and I will even defend them to the degree that they deserve defending. But I can't ignore the drop in quality over the last few years. And I miss the days from when I was growing up, when I was a kid, when I could play a new Pokemon game and it was legitimately one of the best video game series that was in existence. Pokemon Generation 4 is one of my closest childhood games. I mean, outside of Luigi's Mansion, of course. But Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, it was in the heart of my childhood. When I was becoming a young adult, becoming someone who had a mind to be able to play longer RPGs like that, it was something I clung to so heavily. And Heart Gold Soul Silver, after that, was an expansion of those things, and it became one of the most beloved games by me when I was growing up. And then right after that, you have Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2, which from a design perspective has some of the most gorgeous pixel art on any platform, and especially for a Nintendo platform. A DS, which was so underpowered for the time. It's like a tiny handheld system, and it just looks so amazing even today, and how well crafted those sprites are. But then they made the jump to 3D, and I'll be honest, I was on the hype train. I was excited for 3D Pokemon. I was envisioning a version of it in my head for what I thought it could potentially be, and it disappointed me, to be honest. After a few years of trying to want to be as excited for those games, I just couldn't. And obviously I still played them. I still love Pokemon. I still love the formula, but the art didn't hit me in that same way. It just didn't feel the same, and it just felt flatter. It felt like there wasn't as much personality to me. I don't know. It didn't feel the same. The only exception I will say was Sun and Moon right before the Switch came out, because I remember specifically pre-ordering that game. I was in college at the time, and it was kind of another stepping stone in my life where I was becoming not just a young adult or a teenager or whoever. I was becoming an actual adult. I was becoming someone who had their own money, living their own life, doing their own thing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this Pokemon game. I'm going to play the hell out of it as an adult. I am now officially a video game nerd adult, and that's what I want to be. And that year, 2016 to 2017, Pokemon Sun and Moon, and then the Nintendo Switch, I was really into it. But I'll be honest, looking back, it still doesn't hit those high highs as it did for Pokemon Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or even Gen 4. Like Diamond and Pearl and Platinum still hold up to this day. And you may say, subjective. You're an adult. Obviously, games that you played when you were a kid are not going to feel the same as when you're an adult. And I would say, you're stupid. Because I have whimsy still in my heart, and I still love playing games to this day. That's why I still talk about them. That's why I still put these kind of things out into the world, because I love talking about video games. I love playing them. And there are games every day that I play that like fill me with nostalgia or with just like love for the craft. No pun intended, but I've been playing Minecraft recently, and that game still to this day just like fills me with so much whimsy, and I see like these sprawling vistas that like are made of pixels, and it still just fills my heart with warmth playing these games of any capacity. So when I say that new Pokemon games just don't hit the same, I mean it. I mean it doesn't fill me with the same joy as it did when I was a kid, and it's because I know what that joy is like, because I still feel it. Now, I do want to say I felt the tides change a little bit when Scarlet and Violet released, because clearly Sword and Shield was a misstep. It was underbaked, there was a lot of missing features, it just didn't feel like a complete experience, and the visuals by a long shot didn't fit with what everyone expected from a beautiful Pokemon game. And Scarlet and Violet had a lot of those same visual problems, but I could tell, and maybe it's just me, but it felt like they tried a lot harder. Like, there was obviously bugs, and there was some pop in here and there, and there was some issues with, levels of detail in certain areas. So it didn't look as fully fleshed out as some older Pokemon games, kind of felt when we were growing up, right? But it just, I don't know, it had this certain something that I can't quite describe that made me feel like a little inkling of that hope again for Pokemon. Like, it really makes me feel like I might actually get the classic Pokemon game experience that I was looking for. And in the visual department, it didn't quite hit there. But I would say for the gameplay department and the amount of content that was in the game, it did scratch that itch for me. There were so many areas to explore and so many different paths that you could take, and obviously at the end they all kind of converge, but it felt like truly a Pokemon open world experience that is what we were promised, and I think it actually worked out pretty good, all things considered. And it's not just because they brought like old stuff that made me nostalgic, they brought in a lot of new stuff that was changing the mechanics in ways that I thought was good. A lot of the stuff that they brought from Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I think like quality of life changes are a big deal for Pokemon, because especially if you're going to make a Pokemon game more modern, making it less clunky but making it still feel as fun to play as an old school Pokemon game, that's the perfect balance for me. So they've taken away a lot of that tedious stuff that you don't really want from a Pokemon game, but it felt like they were still letting you feel the sense of adventure. They were still letting you feel like you were growing your team and becoming a real trainer and doing all this stuff. And the whimsical aspect of playing Pokemon felt like it was there in full force, in my opinion. And I remember saying to a lot of my friends at the time, if this Pokemon game just had a few more years in the oven, or maybe even just one more year, I think it could have been truly spectacular. And I've been secretly crossing my fingers, hoping that Pokemon Company would hear my prayers, that they would be listening through my microphone on my Nintendo Switch and to say, you know what, we are going to take an extra year to make our next Pokemon game. And that's why I'm so happy that this year there is no Pokemon game. Zero. No Pokemon games coming at all. No DLC, no remakes, nothing. The only Pokemon series that we even know for a fact is coming is next year with Pokemon Legends ZA, which I'm very excited for. I love Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I'm super excited for ZA. But here's the thing. I'm even more excited that it's the only Pokemon we know of. It's the only game on the horizon right now. And it's exciting. I'm legitimately excited. I have not felt this way in so long. Because, yes, Pokemon Legends Arceus is coming. And I know at some point they're going to do a Gen 5 remake. And at some point they're going to do Gen 10. But we don't know when. We don't know exactly when. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be called. Jumping in real quick here to say, I made this video before the leaks came out. And so I know there are some things in these documentations talking about some Gen 10 Pokemon stuff and potentially integration with the Switch 2. I didn't know that, and this video doesn't really change even knowing that, but I just wanted to make sure that, you know, y'all were aware that this was not like something that I knew going into recording this audio. Anyway, back to it. And with all the rumors of Switch 2 coming in the next year or so, I think that we are about to get not only a Pokemon game that took longer to develop, which is exciting, but a Pokemon game that will look better on a new system with higher fidelity graphics, and I think genuinely it has the potential to be a all-timer, which I know is kind of wishful thinking, but the fact that it's even possible and the fact that we live in a time period where it is unknown what the Pokemon Company is working on, it's exciting. And I will tell you, the excitement that I feel for the Pokemon series is at a high that I have not felt in probably 10 years, I'll be honest. And I love that. It's so exciting to me. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on this. I am excited to hear some news eventually. I'm glad it's not really going to be this year. And I really am looking forward to whatever happens next year. If there's some new Pokemon news, if we get Gen 10, if we get Gen 5 remakes, I will be all ears. But it just feels good to be genuinely excited for a Pokemon game again. And I hope this feeling stays for the next maybe the next couple, because that would be nice. Wouldn't it be nice to not have half-baked Pokemon games every year and instead have great Pokemon games every 2 or 3 years? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be something? Ugh. If only. Alright. Well, I'm going to go back to playing Zelda, and I hope you guys have a good night.